Hidden God Stories, where God's mysteries are revealed.
Did you know the Bible leaves an 18-year gap in the life of Jesus? At the age of 12, we see him in the temple, astonishing the teachers with his wisdom. And then, silence. Not a single word about him until he reappears at the age of 30, standing at the Jordan River to begin his public ministry. 18 years. Hidden, unrecorded. What was he doing? Where did he go? How did he live? These questions have stirred the hearts of believers, scholars, and seekers for centuries. Some imagine him working quietly as a carpenter, living among his family in Nazareth. Others wonder if he traveled far, learning from different cultures and traditions. The Bible does not say. Instead, it leaves us with a mystery. And maybe that silence is not empty. Maybe those hidden years hold a message for us. A reminder that God is at work, even when nothing seems to happen, even when the pages of our lives feel blank. Today, let's step into that mystery together, walking between history and legend, and listening for the quiet lessons that Jesus' hidden years still whisper to us. The Gospel writers give us glimpses of Jesus' birth, his early childhood, and that remarkable moment in the temple at age 12. And then, nothing. From 12 to 30, the record goes dark. No miracles, no teachings, no journeys, just silence. Why would the Bible leave out nearly 2 decades of his life? For many, this silence feels unsettling. We want details. We want to know how he grew, what he studied, who his friends were, how he prepared for his calling. Yet Scripture, in its wisdom, leaves this chapter unopened. Perhaps it was not forgotten. Perhaps it was intentional. The hidden years remind us that God does not measure life by publicity or recognition. Growth often happens in secret. Roots dig deep in the dark before branches reach for the sky. When we look at Jesus' 3 years of public ministry, teaching, healing, transforming lives, it's easy to forget that they were built upon nearly 30 years of ordinary living. Quiet days, family meals, honest work, long prayers. The silence in Scripture is not empty, it is sacred. It tells us that before Jesus changed the world, he lived faithfully in the small, unseen moments. For centuries, the silence of Scripture has invited imagination. If the Bible is quiet, people wonder, what if? And from that wondering came legends. Stories whispered through time. Some say Jesus never left Nazareth, that he lived a simple life as a carpenter, shaping wood with his hands, shaping character with patience. A young man, faithful to his family, faithful to his Father in heaven. Others, though, dreamed bigger. Ancient tales claimed he traveled east to India or Tibet, learning wisdom from distant teachers. Still others imagined him in Egypt, studying among scholars or priests. None of these stories appear in Scripture, yet they linger in books, traditions, and the minds of those who long to fill the silence. Do these theories tell us the truth? Likely not. But they reveal something about us. We cannot bear mystery. We crave answers, even if we must invent them. And yet, perhaps the mystery is the answer. The fact that the Bible leaves space invites us to reflect, not just on where Jesus was, but on what his hidden life means. Legends may entertain us, but it is the silence that speaks most deeply, reminding us that God's work is not always visible, yet always real. Why would God allow nearly 2 decades of silence in the life of his Son? Perhaps because hiddenness has its own holiness. The years we cannot see were not wasted years. They were years of preparation. Before Jesus spoke to crowds, he listened in silence. Before he carried the cross, he carried wood as a carpenter. Before he changed history, he lived in the ordinary rhythms of family, community, and work. The hidden years remind us that God values process more than performance. In a world that celebrates speed, fame, and constant noise, Jesus' quiet years whisper another truth. Waiting is not wasted. Growth takes time. Obedience often looks ordinary. Think of a seed buried in the soil. For months, even years, nothing appears. Yet under the surface, life is forming. Roots are strengthening. One day, the plant breaks through, ready to flourish. So it was with Jesus, and so it is with us. The hidden seasons of life, the waiting, the obscurity, the silence, may be the very ground where God shapes our souls for what is to come. The hidden years teach us patience, trust, and faith in a God who works unseen. The hidden years of Jesus are not just about him, they are also about us. Every one of us walks through seasons where life feels quiet, unseen, even forgotten. We wonder if our prayers matter, if our work matters, if we matter. But the years Jesus spent in silence remind us that obscurity is not abandonment. God is present even in the ordinary, washing dishes, raising children, showing up to work each day. These moments may seem small, but in God's hands, they are shaping us. Perhaps you feel like your life is on pause, like nothing important is happening. Remember, even the Son of God lived nearly 3 decades in quiet preparation before stepping into his calling. Waiting is not wasted. Hiddenness is not hopeless. Jesus teaches us that greatness begins in faithfulness, not in the spotlight, but in the shadows, not in applause, but in obedience. And when the time is right, God brings forth fruit from the seeds planted in secret. So the next time your life feels ordinary or overlooked, remember this: Jesus himself was once hidden, and in the hidden place, God was preparing glory. Silence is not empty, it is sacred. In the hidden years of Jesus, God was writing a story without words, teaching us that preparation is holy, that waiting has purpose, and that unseen seasons still carry divine meaning. When Jesus finally stepped into the Jordan River to be baptized, he did not come from nowhere. He came from years of quiet faithfulness. And those years gave weight to his words, strength to his steps, and love to his mission. What does this mean for us? It means your hidden seasons matter. The times when no one notices your efforts, when prayers feel unanswered, when you wonder if God has forgotten you, those are the very moments he is shaping you for what lies ahead. The Bible's silence is not a gap to be feared, but a gift to be received. It reminds us that the God who works in the open is the same God who works in the shadows. So when life feels quiet, do not lose heart. Remember the hidden years of Jesus. In the silence, God is near. In the waiting, he is preparing. And in his time, the story will unfold. The hidden years of Jesus remind us that God's greatest work often begins in silence. What looks like waiting is actually preparing. What feels ordinary can be holy in his hands. And what seems forgotten is never lost to him. Maybe today, you feel like your life is caught in that same kind of silence. You're not where you hoped to be. Your story feels unfinished. If that's you, take heart. Jesus himself walked through nearly 2 decades of quiet obscurity before his calling became clear. And when the time was right, God revealed his purpose through him to the world. Your hidden years matter. They are not wasted. They are the soil where faith grows strong roots. Trust that in the silence, God is nearer than you realize. If this story spoke to you, I invite you to journey deeper with us here at Hidden God Stories. Together, we explore the mysteries, the lessons, and the hope we find in God's story. Subscribe today, and let's continue uncovering the hidden treasures of faith, one story at a time.
You've just uncovered a hidden mystery of God. Subscribe to Hidden God Stories to continue this miraculous journey of faith.